and gentlemen, good morning on this Monday morning from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. My name is Boy, this is AMS Live, and we are standing alongside Polderbaan once again for departures. In the meantime, as I was setting up, a queue formed. At the moment, this runway is the only runway in use for departures, although the wind blowing from the northeast or east-northeast even makes that when it gets busy, runway 09 will also be used. At the moment, two runways are in use for arrivals, 06 and 36 right. So depending on how busy outbound traffic is going to get, this is the main runway or one of the two runways together with 09. At the moment, this is the only runway in use, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 airplanes queuing behind the now departing Embraer. Weather conditions today are very similar to what they were yesterday. Around the end of the stream, yesterday we began with overcast, but it soon got more sunny, and we ended the stream with a more or less cloudless blue sky. At the moment, looking around, don't see any clouds. The area of high pressure is really built up, and the weather is very high pressure like. Compared to yesterday, the wind has also subsided substantially, only a few knots compared to yesterday when we had winds of 15 knots by the time we were streaming. The wind yesterday, over the day, during the day, gradually slowed down. At the moment it's only a few knots. Now, we've had a cold night with some frost. Did have to wipe the car clean from some ice over the front window. At the moment it is approximately 4 degrees centigrade, so that is 38 or so degrees Fahrenheit. So what wind there is headwind and a little bit of crosswind from the right, but it's nothing to write home about. You probably hear it on the audio as well. As I was setting up, I didn't hear any crackling at all. Must be wind related. I'm looking forward to calling the store that I bought all my equipment from and see if they can help me troubleshoot what might be the cause of it. I think it is the microphone itself. long as the wind stays the way it is right now in the coming period, then of course there is no reason for concern. At the moment it is back-to-back action. There are still 3 more airplanes behind the one currently on the threshold. In the meantime, I see a lot of people tuning in. Good morning everybody, welcome to the stream. Too bad you couldn't make it today, Koenie. Hope you enjoyed the rerun when you are able to watch it back tonight. Danny Rules, goedemorgen. Absolutely lekker weertje. Definitely better than yesterday. A lot less wind, which was making it cold yesterday. There's hardly a breeze at all at the moment. So a large area of high pressure has built up over mainland Europe. And although it is still relatively cold for the time of the year in most of Europe, at least the northern half, the weather is very much spring-like at the moment. There is a little bit of wind. If you look at the chimneys of the power plant in the port area of Amsterdam West, you can see it's not rising vertically. Although where I'm standing, I don't feel a lot of wind. It's a mild breeze, that's it. So yesterday, around this time, we had some calm before the storm. At the moment, it is still very much back-to-back action, which doesn't give me a lot of time to look at all the chats from all you guys. I will have a look in a minute if I get some time in between the back-to-back departures. At the moment, there's still one Embraer behind the Embraer currently aligned on the runway already, and there's a heavy on my left also taxiing this way. So for the time being, it is operating the camera. Let's have a look what's coming after the Embraer 777. Rotations from these narrow bodies, or maybe they always rotate around that point, but I'm just noticing it now. Who knows? Okay, so after this heavy, well, there's another, I think it's a 737, but I only looked quickly. Looks like another 737 is also taxiing this way, so for now it's still back-to-back action. So the chat is already bustling. Danny Roos, goedemorgen. Dem de Her, goedemorgen. Of Haier? How do I pronounce your last name? I'm probably mispronouncing it, apologies. Now yesterday we had a stream that was filled with heavies, although we only saw one Queen take off and from the distance one Queen landing, and we never saw the A380. Otherwise it was a very high percentage of heavies that we saw yesterday. Hopefully today will be the same. Yesterday evening I did have a look at the departures scheduled for this morning, and I did see a lot of triples, Dreamliners and A330s scheduled to depart between now and let's say 12 o'clock. So hopefully it's going to be another promising stream with a lot of heavies. Roy Oenemans, goedemorgen, good morning. Martin, goedemorgen, good morning. Meflo27, good morning. Melchior, changed his name. Well, welcome back, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Steve J, good morning and welcome back. Henky, goedemorgen, good morning. Jerry, good morning, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Rick from Leeuwarden, also having sun up there, I guess. You guys had it first. All good things come from the north, as you aptly said. Obviously I still need to wake up because just now I was saying and announcing that this was a 737, but it's obviously an Embraer. Maybe I need to schedule an appointment with the optician, see if my glasses are still at the right strength. Alright, so now we have a brief moment of quiet. Although I do believe that more traffic is already underway, if I... not so much. Oh yeah, there it is. And that is another Embraer. Alright. So, moment of quiet. Let's see. A lot of people active in the chat. Yorkshire Biker, good morning my friend. Welcome back, hope you're doing well. Ingrid Fato from Malta, good morning, where it's probably also sunny. And Jean-Yves, good morning, welcome back, hope you're doing well, mate. Andy Taylor, good morning. Gosse, goedemorgen. Alles goed, jongen? So, Rick says maybe we'll get to see a FedEx 757. That is absolutely splendid. We don't see the 757s that often anymore. Occasionally Iceland Air flies their 757, but even they mostly fly to Amsterdam with their 737 Maxes. So the Embraer taxiing right towards us, going to take off in front of us. So the downside, of course, from the time of day and this viewing position is the backlights. But yesterday, when I came home and watched the stream back, which I always do because the chat these days is so active that I am not able to read all of the messages while I'm streaming, but I do always read every chat conversation from every stream back A to Z when I get home. I was a bit worried initially yesterday about the view you guys would have with the backlight from the sun at this time of day, but when I look back I noticed that it wasn't too bad, and it only gets better as the sun climbs above the horizon. Meanwhile, this is an actual 737 coming this way. It seems to be having its lights on already. Yeah, oh, now they definitely have gone on, which means that it's going to cross over, or at least it's going to cross over right to the front thrust. For takeoffs, yeah, that's the pattern we saw yesterday too. 09 opening on and off depending on the busyness. With 3.6 left where we are standing at as the constant factor. So even though 09 has also opened up, I'm expecting this runway to stay open throughout the day, given the prevailing wind. Possibly that 09 will also close again later. Even though the wind might be more suitable to depart from 09, given that they basically take off right into the Amsterdam metropolitan area, starting with Amstelveen first. And given all the noise abatement rules, what you typically see that even if the winds are more optimally suited to use a different runway, that if possible they try to use this runway and the Kaagbaan, that's runway 0624, the most. These are the two preferential runways of Schiphol. Martin, goedemorgen, good morning. Leen Verschoor, goedemorgen. Tino, goedemorgen. Hope you're doing well, all of you. So yesterday afternoon I also had a call with the Apple support regarding my not fully functional USB port. The guy I spoke with also looked along with me at a distance and we did some additional testing and we reached the conclusion that indeed some of the functionality seems to have died. The loading thing, maybe there's a loose connector, might be some physical damage. It did fall from my lap once when my cat was trying to cross over my lap. So it fell like 50 centimeters or so. I have tiles in my living room, so it made quite a hard landing. Maybe that it was causing it. Don't know. You can never say for sure. But what he did say that was that I can bring it in for repair, and unlike during the pandemic, the time it might take for repairs will probably be only several days. So I said, well, this is not a life or death emergency. It is working. I use it for a lot of things. So let me decide when I'm going to bring it in. And given the fact that it is going to be Easter this weekend, and also the weather forecasts for the coming week, also I think even for the week after Easter, are very good. Double-digit temperatures and a lot of sunshine, so actual spring weather. I thought it might be best to bring away the laptop on a Monday, the week after Easter, which is also the week before King's Day, which is a national holiday over here in the Netherlands. I think this year it's on a Thursday. So hopefully, if I bring it in on Monday, maybe I can have it back before the weekend. So the downtime in regards to streaming would be minimized. Unless, of course, the other port gives out earlier and I have no means of charging my laptop. Then of course, it has become an emergency situation. Now you can see the windmills in the background. They are spinning somewhat. You could also see that the smoke from the electricity plant is not rising vertically, so it's not completely wind still. There is a little bit of wind, but it's only a minor breeze. Also, if you look in the water over here where I'm standing along, just a little bit of waves, but not a whole lot. And otherwise, if I show you guys the big picture, this is to the south, main area of Schiphol. This is approximately to the east. That thing is called the sun. It's also something I learned about yesterday. Apparently it always is present also if it is cloudy. So what do you know? This is the north. Well, I haven't seen any clouds just yet. Turning around to the west, you guys can see this magnificent weather. Also, this place, I have it to myself. Although I did see a security vehicle patrolling and doing his round around the roundabout over here. But other than that, glorious weather. And even though the air temperature is still somewhat cold, so as I was saying, approximately 4 degrees centigrade, so that is approximately 38 F. Because it isn't very windy, it's very doable. So at the moment we are waiting for the next traffic to come this way. Let me double check, see if this runway is still open or if it's... Yeah, no, it is open. So at the moment 06 is the only runway open for arrivals. 09 and 36 left, the one where I'm standing at are both open for departures. Sam Mokaya, good morning, and Nelson Miranda, good morning. Madeira Island, Portugal. Well, Madeira is there. It's almost always good weather over there, isn't it? Same with the Canary Islands. Very nice place to be living, I imagine. And Rick says that there's a bigger Dreamliner for Air Europa taking off today instead of the regular 7878. Oh, what? Oh, okay. No, back. Can I see the chat again, or do I need to re-enter the URL? So I'm using a URL for the pop-out window of the live chat, so that I can only have the chat only on my phone screen. Well, it gave a pop-up where I could do something with the messages or assign somebody moderator or whatever, and I couldn't get it away. But now it seems to have gone again. Right, so a bit of a lull once again. Henky says that the volume of your voice drops sometimes. That is really weird, because I use a lavalier mic and the wireless DJI mic to get the signal to my switcher, and I always have a hat on, a cap, and at the bottom of the cap I have I've stuck the microphone under the cap of my hat. So basically it should always be at the same distance from my mouth. Although I do, when I do bend forward, I can imagine that maybe the sound waves from my mouth are a bit, can be a bit hindered by reflections or something. That's the only thing I can think of, because that's why I always wear a cap, protect against the sun, but also to make sure that the microphone that I use for voiceover, the lavalier mic, is always at the same distance from my mouth, and it's always protected with a little fluffy windjammer, mini dead cat if you will. So that should normally be relatively constant, or it is maybe a drop in signal, but the receiver DJI mic is, I think, a meter or so removed from the transmitter. The transmitter is in one of the inner pockets of my parka, so it might also block the signal occasionally sometimes. But if it happens more or often, please let me know. Obviously not what's supposed to happen, that the volume of my voice lowers too much. Now, listening back to the stream yesterday, I constantly heard crackling, even though some of you, when I asked about it, reported that there was no crackling. At times and throughout the entire stream I did hear it, although it wasn't nearly as disturbing as it was, distracting as it was, particularly on Friday, but I think that was caused by something different altogether. The interaction of the microphone with the rain cover, the camera rain cover. Double check. Oh, now I seem to be. Seems that the chat on my phone is no longer up to date compared to what I see on my laptop. Let's see, reload. Is that better? Usher also back. Good morning, my friend. Wantamik, good morning, if I pronounced that correctly. Alright, okay, so it seems that we are now again synchronized with the live stream that I also see on my laptop. Yeah, I see the same messages coming in. Keenan asks, waar bent u live? Well, you can say je. It's the voice. Your voice volume seems to drop if you move camera. Let me first answer your question, Keenan. I am standing alongside the Polderbaan. If you go to Google Maps and type in Spottersplaats Polderbaan, you will see a parking lot. And if you follow the road that leads to the parking lot back to the crossing, and when you come from the Spottersplaats and get to that crossing and then take a left turn, you will see that there's a road that also leads near to the runway. And if you look on Google Street View, you can see that at the end of that road there is a roundabout, and I'm standing in the grass just a few meters to the side of that roundabout. The roundabout is here, and if you look at Google Street View, you can also see the fence leading to the platform area over there. And as you can see, I am in the grass like 50 or so meters away from it. So the regular Spottersplaats is over there, and there's a road that leads to it. And if you follow that road back, behind the building here should be a crossing, and then there is a road that leads to the roundabout that I showed you just now. And jokes aside, I will have a look at all the settings to see if maybe accidentally something has switched off, because I think when my lavalier mic or the DJI mic is actually off, and I can show you in a moment what that would sound like. So if I only have the shotgun mic feeding to YouTube, and I'm standing behind the camera, because it is a very directional microphone, you hardly hear me. I really have to stand in front of the camera in order for you guys to pick me up, to pick my voice up on the shotgun mic that is mounted on my camera. So what you're hearing, my voiceover, is actually from the lavalier mic that is taped to my head. So let me take this moment. Oh. This must be better, because looking at my switcher I saw that the microphone for voiceover was turned off. I bet that this was the difference. So yeah, what you were here. So now you guys heard what it sounds like if I don't wear a lavalier mic for my for the voiceover. You probably missed most of what I was saying, because indeed, as I was moving away from the camera, you guys probably hardly hear me at all. So it was the shotgun mic that you guys were hearing before. I always do a test of the sound before going live, so I have wireless earplugs that I use to check the sound volume and also if there's any crackling or not. So then I have an ATEM mini switcher, and I have two feeds. One is the HDMI, and the shotgun mic connects to the camera. So over the HDMI signal, both the video feed and the audio from the shotgun mic mounted onto the camera go to the switcher. So that's one channel, and the other channel is the DJI mic that is a separate channel. So I always test both mics before going live, and I do that by switching one of the two off and then the other one, so that I can check if both are working. And yeah, I was running a little late, as you guys noticed. It was a little busy in the morning rush hour, so it took me a few minutes longer to reach Schiphol this morning. So I was in a bit of a hurry to go live in time, and I apparently forgot to turn back on. So Keenan, I hope you heard what I was describing as to where I'm currently standing. And it seems, oh wait a minute, top chat, I need to switch that to live chat. I was looking at my phone, and I saw a discrepancy between the chat window on my laptop and the messages I saw over here on my phone. Well, Rick, you don't have to look for a man that is suspicious, is acting suspiciously, because everybody will recognize me as soon as you see me. I am the one who has a little cart, a boulder car, because I carry a lot of equipment with me. So not only do I have a tripod with a camera mounted on top of it, I also have the tent wires and all the other stuff to fixate the tripod into the grass firmly, which works a treat even if it isn't windy, just to stabilize the imaging platform. But I also carry a camping table, a foldable camping table, because I have a laptop tent with me, I have a power supply with me, one of those heavy things that you can use and power all your equipment an entire day. So basically, if I could also do it, I would be able to do a live stream an entire day, although I do believe I might have to also then get a USB cable to power the wireless transmitter or receiver. At the moment, the camera operator is the limiting factor. It's not the equipment that can easily keep it up an entire day. Although, yeah, as I was saying, there's only one receiver in a DJI mic kit, 2 transmitters, so I can exchange them should it be necessary. But if I were to stream an entire day, I would have to also supply USB power to the transmitter so that it charges as it also is functioning. Otherwise, it runs empty. After a 4-hour stream like yesterday, the receiver is pretty much empty. But yeah, a lot of kits, so you will recognize me even without the cap and acting suspiciously. So Tuge Terkan, if I pronounce that somewhat correctly, asks is this now live from Amsterdam? It is. If you look at Flight Radar, you can also see all the traffic that I'm filming. So there's an Embraer from KLM taxiing to the runway threshold, and before it is an EasyJet Airbus. For some reason, these 2 planes are now taxiing towards the runway threshold instead of departing in front of us. Let me also have a look at Flight Radar. So this is an A319. Oh, no time. The only thing I could see was it's an A319 off to London Gatwick. Now I'm expecting more back-to-back action and also a lot more heavies later in the morning. We saw that yesterday. It's the same almost every day between 10 and 12 a.m. local time. A lot of outbound heavies that have destinations in North America, Canada, US. They take off. And even with 09 open, they will all come this way because it's closer to the final destination of these airplanes. I'm saying final destination, but it's not a train that has several stops, so their destination, I should say. So what a difference the wind makes, because even though the air temperature is similar to what it was yesterday, it is so much more comfortable at the moment. Operating the camera a lot easier without gusts of wind, and also no crackling. I see that Wendy has also joined us. Goedemorgen Wendy, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And it is a great setup, Yorkshire biker, definitely. I was thinking about live streaming a few years ago already. First when I saw Big Jet TV and saw what Jerry was doing over at Heathrow, I thought, wow, this is something that would also be totally something that I would be into, as someone who has always been a fan of photography and aviation. But for some reason the idea subsided, and then later I saw that Sebastian was also doing had his Flying Matters channel over here at Schiphol, and I thought, well, at least Schiphol, also at Schiphol. And I thought, oh, well, somebody beat me to it. For some reason, overnight, he seemed to have stopped streaming, which is very unfortunate. Hopefully he's doing well. If somebody knows more about that, please let me know. And yeah, last summer I was again thinking about it, but I was also moving last year. Bought a new house in the spring and was busy with redecorating and moving over the summer. So when I got that done, I thought, let's do it. So I basically researched the heck out of what I would be needing. Started buying everything, I think, in October, and started doing testing in November. And I think, if I recall correctly, my first live stream, my public live stream, was around the end of November, and everything went very quickly after that. But I did begin with this initiative with the idea, this is something I think I might be good at. I think it's something I might enjoy doing. I think it might be something worth investing in, do it right. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If at some point in the future I do get the opportunity to make this a full-time thing, I think I will, because I have an office job and it's just not for me. I'm one of those persons that doesn't thrive being indoors under artificial lighting conditions, even though the work that I'm doing in itself is very rewarding. It's not something I see myself do until retirement, and this, so far, something I really enjoy doing, look forward to doing. Very much a night owl by nature. You almost never see me go to bed before midnight, and if I do go to bed before midnight, then I'm probably ill. So getting up in the morning, always something that is difficult for me. Although at some point I did have 2 morning rounds when I was in high school, and I had no issue with getting up at 5:30 6 times a week. Which, looking back at it right now, I think, how on earth did I ever do that and managed to keep that up for 3 years or so until I graduated from high school. But like this morning and yesterday, I have to get up at 7, leave around 8 to go to Schiphol, set up, start around 9, 0 issues. So yeah, I thought when I am going to bite the bullet and go buy all this stuff, might as well do it right. The only thing in hindsight but that's always something, you never know beforehand how things, whether or not it's going to be picked up, if it's going to be a success or not. So in hindsight, buying a better tripod initially in one go, the one I'm currently using, would have been better, but yeah, hindsight is always 20/20. Also, a better microphone, definitely something looking back would have been better, but you never know, and you learn something from all the decisions that you make. Meanwhile, one of, I think, 3 A220s from Air Baltic that are scheduled to depart this morning just took off. Looking at the scheduled departures, I saw that there are 3 outbound shortly after each other, so we will probably see more. Tallinn, Riga, and another destination that I didn't remember. So more traffic is currently taxiing towards the runway threshold. The first one, another Airbus from Aer Lingus. If I look at flight radar, the A320 from Aer Lingus going to Dublin. "12 years old, and actually the airplane behind it is also going to go to Dublin. So these planes will fly relatively behind each other throughout the entire flight. Assuming that their flight plans are not too different. Obviously, several ways to get to the destination. Might be that Aer Lingus scheduled one route and KLM another. Even if they take different routes, they are departing back to back, so most likely they will also more or less arrive at Dublin back to back. So this KLM 737 also going to Dublin, 737-800, and this airplane 22 years old, a little older than the Airbus before it. First flight was in September 2000. So there are new aircraft taxiing over here. I think I see another A220 from Air Baltic. Might be coming this way, as long as they are still out there. Let's see if we can at least follow the 737 until it's going to make its left-hand turn over the North Sea Canal. Meanwhile, I think that the A220 is coming this way, and that is also a lovely airplane and makes for a very pretty shot. So let's turn around still. There you go. Let me take a photo on the camera. I think that might be a very nice... Oh, time to zoom out, folks. Wave to the fireman, the daily patrol. That's the first of 3. Here comes number 2. They did wave. They did wave, but didn't sound the horn. Also a wave, but no sounding the horn, unfortunately. Meanwhile, to my right, an Embraer has lined up on the runway. You guys probably hear it already. So unless I wasn't paying attention earlier, this is the second of 3 Air Baltic A220s that are scheduled to take off this morning. No time to follow it because I think that the Embraer is going to go right away. You can see there is a little bit of crosswind from the right, as was the case yesterday, though not as severely as yesterday. I think the wind conditions are going to stay the same for the coming week, so I won't be able to go live again after today until Friday, unless, as happened 2 weeks ago on Thursday, my day ends at 12 PM already. In that case I might be able to sneak out for a little stream in the afternoon, but I think by Friday the wind is still going to be the same more or less. Temperatures are even expected to climb even further, up to 15 degrees after or around the weekend, if I saw that correctly. 15 C, so that is 60 F. I always use the formula 30 plus 2 times the temperature in centigrade. Although the higher the temperature, the more inaccurate the formula becomes, overstating the temperature in Fahrenheit. So 15 C, probably still just below the high 50s probably. Alright, well, I hear several airplanes. They are all taxiing to the threshold. There is an EasyJet Airbus already lined up. Let's quickly look to see several airplanes approaching in the distance. In the queue, another triple, if I see that correctly. And we have an EasyJet Airbus ready to take off on short notice. Meanwhile, I see I am severely behind in reading all your chats. However, I did read your messages regarding my question about the air cooling of the landing gear, and some of you reported that you guys also saw it happen with other airplane types, particularly in Australia where more A380s also fly to. Some of you saw it happen with those types. That Dreamliners were also reported to sometimes have the same issue, so it's not an Airbus only thing apparently. A YouTube fan also gave some interesting information about the second Airbus A330 from Delta that was not taking off initially yesterday. He dropped a comment below the video. And apparently it was similar to what was happening to the other Airbus A330 from Delta. What was it, a week or so ago? The first one that we saw over here. So it might be something to do with maintenance at Delta then. I haven't seen it happen with other operators that use the A330. Gotta love that roar. Goedemorgen. Good morning. Unfortunately, no time to waste. There is another queue and another triple ready to take off. This one from United. Following it, an A330 from Delta. Let's see if it's going to take off and what the landing gear is going to do. Beautiful always to see how they put the stick towards them. You can see the ends of the elevators go up, causing the tail to go down and of course the airplane to take off. Again, not a whole lot of time to follow those airplanes. It is still back-to-back action, although might get a little break after the next two planes. Not the cleanest of airplanes that I've ever seen. Particularly the white area of the livery around the windows look to be a bit smudgy. But no issues spooling up, no issues retracting the landing gear by the looks of it. Though you always have to wait an hour before the gear is fully retracted with the A330s. But it does seem to be working in order. So there are no more planes following after the 737 currently lined up. Gives me a moment to take a sip of water and also read up on the many chat messages that you guys have been posting. I see that Roadhog has also entered the chat and also is watching. Goedemorgen. Fire says that he was a mod over at Flying Matters back when Sebastian was still active. Jay Gad, goedemorgen. Also checking in, welcome back, hope you're doing well. OP also checking in, goedemorgen, good morning. Lot of messages. Dirk van den Berg also checking in, goedemorgen, good morning, hope you're doing well. And indeed, Yorkshire Biker, having a job that you enjoy is the ideal scenario. Definitely. Well, it's not that I don't like my day job, so to speak, but it's not giving me as much satisfaction as this has been so far. So definitely a difference there. Joao Lopez Esteves, good morning. Also checking in. Hope you're doing well. CJ, good morning. Let me go back, I think. Ooh, I am running behind. Derek says, personally, I like to watch arriving planes better. There's something to say for both, I think. I like the sound of takeoffs much better than arrivals, but particularly over here, if it's windy and the airplanes are crabbing or whatever, arrivals are definitely more interesting to look at, although the soundtrack, of course, of departing traffic is much better. So I like a bit of both, personally. Don't know if that's the same for you, or if you're more like Dirk, who likes arrivals better than departures. In the meantime, back to the camera controls it is, because there is another 737 and it's going to take off in front of us. Probably a rolling start, a turn and burn. Now folks, if you're new to the channel and you're liking what you're seeing, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. It allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future, you receive a notification. And if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again for more action over here at the ever-bustling Schiphol Airport. Also, subscribing helps me greatly to reach more people like you and me, who are also into content like this. There's a lot of aviation enthusiasts out there, and subscribing greatly helps the YouTube algorithm to also show this channel's content to people who might be interested in it based on your viewing behavior. Very eerily intelligent how it all works. Meanwhile, let me have a look. Phil, good morning. Hope you're doing well there. Good to see you again. Also, beautiful weather over in the UK, I think, at the moment. I think most of Europe is basking in the sun at the moment. And if I say so myself, about time. I think we've all deserved some sunshine at this point. Using a lot of runway. Now, again, not a lot of time to follow the airplane, because back at the other side of the runway, the next plane, 777-300, if I look at the fuselage length, turning onto the runway. Let me have a quick look at flight radar. So this is indeed a 777-300ER outbound to Lima, KLM flight 743, airplane 12 years old, first flight January 2011. Nelly Boltjes, goedemorgen. Also checking in. Brad Roblomovich. Sorry, I totally mispronounced that name. Apologies, my friend. Also checking in. Good morning to you. Hope you're well, mate. Let me try that again in a moment. Because I made a total mess of pronouncing that last name. I have to say, it does seem that wind is picking up a little. Still only a minor breeze compared to yesterday and earlier days, but when I'm standing with the camera in this direction, I do notice the wind a bit more than I did at the beginning. Now, a few more planes are underway. The first one is going to be an Embraer from KLM that is taxiing to the runway threshold. So let me already point the camera in that direction. Roblevich. I'll just call you Brad if that's okay with you. Remco, goedemorgen. And Simon Kirby also checking in. Good morning. Hope you're well. And Frank Bruning from Limburg also checking in. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Johnny May, good morning. Mohammed Amiruddin, good morning. Happy to see so many people finding the stream here on this Monday morning. Over here it is quiet, but there is still a lot of action in terms of the traffic. This Embraer 190 is outbound to Billund and is 14 years old. First flight was in January 2009. Now you can see beautiful clear blue skies everywhere. Glorious day for some spotting. Next up, another Embraer 190. This one is going to Poland, Gdansk. 14 years old, first flight November 2008. Let me zoom out a bit further. Can see that there's an A330neo taxiing this way. Delta Airlines flight 57 outbound to Salt Lake City. Still a few minutes out in terms of taxiing. As I said before, runway 18 center, 36 center still closed for maintenance. It was expected to reopen again mid-April, but last week Schiphol announced that because of the cold and bad weather we've had over the last couple of weeks, the maintenance was behind on schedule. They said that they are hoping that the runway will open again in the first week of May, when we also have May holiday here in the Netherlands. So the 27th of April we have Koningsdag, King's Day. Used to be on April 30th, back when Queen Beatrix was still reigning, but several years ago she resigned, looking for the right word, officially denouncing her role, and her successor, currently King Willem-Alexander, took over, and ever since they changed Queen's Day to King's Day and also changed the date. It always used to be on April 30th, and in the beginning years after the change you could still see a lot of orangely dressed tourists from abroad wandering through an empty city, through an empty Amsterdam mostly, looking to find the party that wasn't there because it took place a few days earlier. Then the first week of May in the Netherlands we also have the 4th and 5th of May. The 4th May. The 4th of May is the day that we remember those who have fallen in originally the Second World War. I think it's been broadened also to people who have died in other wars. So that's in the evening. There's always an official remembrance at several locations, one of which is Dam Square in Amsterdam and also one in the dunes near The Hague. And then there's the 5th of May, which is Liberation Day, the day that the Netherlands back in 45 got freed from occupation, and that's always a day. It used to be a day off, a holiday that everybody was off on. Now they've changed it and it's only an official holiday that people don't have to work on once every 5 years. And it's always on the plurals of 5, so 2020, and the next one is going to be 2025. So around that period there's always school holidays. The May vacation is what it's literally called in the Netherlands. That's always a time of year that a lot of people also go on holiday by airplane. So Schiphol now tries to have the runway open by then, and that means that planes that are taking off from this runway can take the shortcut once again. If you look on either Flight Radar or Google Maps, you can see that you can cross over runway 36 center from the main platform area to the Polderbaan, but at the moment all the planes that are outbound for the Polderbaan need to taxi around the runway. You can still see it, so you can see the traffic coming well in advance. At the moment the A330neo to Salt Lake City is taxiing to the threshold. In a few moments we'll be seeing an Embraer 175 turning around the corner from the main platform area towards the runway, going to Aarhus, and I can see the Delta Flight 179 is also taxiing this way, an A330-300 outbound to Portland. So I'm going to turn around the camera. Before that, let me have a look, and I can tell you that this Neo outbound to Salt Lake City is brand new, was delivered last November, so only a few months old. And exactly, Simon says abdicated. I was looking for the word and I couldn't think of it right away, but Queen Beatrix abdicated back then, and Willem-Alexander took over, and shortly thereafter Queen's Day was no more and it turned to King's Day. So A330neo outbound to Salt Lake City. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay. Well, that was certainly interesting. For a moment I thought it was going to reject the takeoff, but they just allowed a lot of time for the engine RPM to stabilize before going to takeoff thrust. Now the gear is also retracting as it should, so for a moment I thought we were going to see another aborted takeoff or rejected takeoff. It did take longer than normally what would be the case for them to go to full thrust. Right, so K4 also on patrol. Bird controller, one of the many bird controllers that Schiphol has. Meanwhile, we are watching new traffic coming this way. The Embraer is going to the runway threshold. Well, OP, thank you so much for joining us. If you're still around, good night. Hope to see you again soon. Quite early still in that part of the world. Meanwhile, in the background, looks like another A330 coming this way. And the Embraer is pulling up. Let's have a look towards the main platform area. In the middle, or just right of the middle, you can see the main control tower, and over to the far left, that is the dedicated ATC control tower of the Polderbaan. For those of you unfamiliar with the layout, this runway quite far removed from the main platform area, so ATC cannot see everything. Well, maybe they could today, but if it is a bit hazy or foggy, there is no way that they can see everything that takes place over here, which is why this runway has its dedicated control tower. Also its dedicated fire station. We saw the daily patrol of the 3 firefighter vehicles earlier, and at the moment they are parked, or at least 2 of them are parked outside. You can see the windsock, not a lot of action. And trying to show you guys something, but maybe it is only visible from a different location. I did see at some point somebody asking if there was a military aircraft or something visible, but I think it was when I was standing at the other side of the runway for arrivals. You have a different viewing angle towards the main platform area. There is a mock-up airplane that the firefighters use to practice their skills on, but I was trying to show you guys, but unfortunately I think it's not visible from over here. I think that might be what the person asking the question back then was referring to. So there is a mock-up plane, but unfortunately I'm not able to show you guys from over here. I think I'm also looking visually, but okay, the A330 already spooling up right away. No time to waste. Don't see any other traffic coming this way just yet. So let's follow the airplane a bit longer. If I can still see it. Because even with this minor wind, my eyes are tearing up a little, but let me just wipe away the tears. Now, this airplane is departing and is climbing now in runway heading, and you can see it is facing to the right somewhat to compensate for the crosswind. Now you can see it's starting to turn to the left, to the west, as it has approximately reached the North Sea Canal. And the standard instrument departures to the west, at least, all follow the same initial course. Then once it gets over the North Sea, depending on where they need to go to, they either go to the southwest, for instance if they fly to London or to South America, or they continue to the northwest towards England, Scotland or Ireland, depending on where they are entering the North Atlantic tracks. And that of course depends on the prevailing jet stream. So let's turn around the camera back towards the main platform area. If new traffic is coming, we'll pick it up from there. Let's have a look and see. Okay, well, 4 runways in use at the moment. 09 still open for departures, as is 36 left. And both 06 and 36 right are now open for arrivals. I think we might have another calm before the storm. There are a lot of planes outbound active on the platform. At the moment I can see that there's a Delta A330 taxiing towards us, still along runway 18 center 36 center, outbound to Atlanta. Gives me a moment to also blow my nose, which still is runny with these temperatures. Delta Airlines flight 73 A330-300 outbound to Atlanta. The first plane to come this way will become visible on the right hand side in a few minutes. There's also a Ryanair 737-800 outbound to Dublin following it. I can see more planes on the go, so I am expecting traffic to pick up again relatively soon. Let me also turn on my hand warmer again. I managed to do without so far, but I do notice that my fingers are getting a bit more stiff at the moment. Ant-Man 1972 also celebrating his birthday on King's Day. Well, you're in good company. Ever since we switched to King's Day and April 27th. The weather hasn't been that great a lot of the times. Hopefully this year things will be better again, but last couple of years we had quite a few rainy days on King's Day. Jitse Berkenbos is ook onderweg naar Schiphol, on his way to Schiphol. Are you going to fly or are you going to do some plane spotting? So the airplane we see taxiing towards us is Delta Airlines Flight 73. It's an A330-300 outbound to Atlanta, Georgia. First flight in March 2005, which makes this airplane 18 years old. And there's more traffic underway. I count 6 more planes taxiing over here. Another Delta A330-300 and a few narrow bodies. And Ant-Man, I think you're right. Originally, it was Queen Juliana's birthday, April 30th, and I think you're right in that Beatrix wanted to keep the day in place out of respect for her, but I think Queen Beatrix her birthday officially was somewhere in January, but I'm not very into the royal family, not in the Netherlands nor in any other country, so this is just something I think I remember, but don't take it as a hard fact. I do believe that it is actually Willem-Alexander's birthday on April 27th. The only thing that I like most about King's Day, or Queen's Day as it was before, are I don't know I don't think there's a right word for it. They're pastries, and we call them tompoes, and they're very nice, and I always have a few on that day. But other than that, okay, the gear is also retracting. So everything went well with that particular A330. Next up is an EasyJet 737. Also taxiing to the threshold. not departing in front of us. As the Ryanair 737 is making its way to the threshold, let's have a look. You can see new traffic underway. Looks like an EasyJet Airbus, and is that a 737 behind it? I think it is. Haven't checked flight radar. But more is underway. In the meantime, the Ryanair 737 rotating or turning onto the runway. If I zoom out, you can see how much you're zoomed in when you're following the airplanes with the camera. Now I see that there is a plane coming directly towards us. It looks like an EasyJet Airbus. CRJ in the background. Let's see if it's also coming this way. Might be. I think the CRJ is also coming this way. Looking small in comparison, doesn't it? John Barton. So after this CRJ has departed, there is an A737 already lined up at the threshold. You see another line, another queue has formed. First up will be this 737 already lined up. It's going to be followed by an Embraer, an A330 and an Airbus 320. Hey there Moritz, flying from Amsterdam to Aruba on the 5th. That is very nice, my friend. Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, lovely destinations to do a little vacationing on. There's the previous plane in the same shot. That's the upside, of course, with the current weather. You are able to see several planes and sometimes even get them in one shot. Currently taxiing onto the threshold, another A330 from Delta. One of the islands I definitely want to go to one day, also in that area of the world, is of course Sint Maarten. Closer by, there's of course the Greek island of Skiathos, which is basically Sint Maarten of Europe when it comes to plane spotting. Although, when you go plane spotting at Sint Maarten, I think you have to be very careful where you place your camera, because place it incorrectly and your lens will get a free sandblast and will be useless after that. Or you'll fly into the water yourself. Well, who knows what the future might bring. Maybe someday I can take all my gear along and provide some content from one of those destinations. That would definitely be something to look into at a later stage. So at the moment we have this Airbus ready to take off. Behind it to the left, a 777. More traffic is underway, so don't go anywhere. And folks, if you're liking what you're seeing, then definitely consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure that when you do, to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, you receive a notification and can join us once again. No time to waste. Before the triple takes off, this SAS Airbus will. And there is currently another triple taxiing to the runway threshold, so I think we might be witnessing the beginning of the heavies rush hour. All the planes outbound to their North American destinations, as I was saying before, typically take off around 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. For a moment I thought it was having heating issues with the brakes, but it did retract the landing gear eventually. Maybe it took a little longer for them to realize they had positive rate. Now it's also the first Monday of the month, so around 12 p.m. we're probably going to hear the air alarms going off. They always do an out loud test on the first Monday of the month, 12 p.m. local time. So that doesn't mean that the Netherlands is under attack. Just testing if the alarm is working. Philip Leroy is asking what equipment I'm using for the streams. If you go to my YouTube page, you go to the community tab, you can see that I've posted a picture not too long ago when I bought my new tripod. My camera and the microphone with the dead cat are also mounted on it, so that's the setup as I'm using it out in the field when it's dry. It is a Canon XA40 camera. I have a Rode Video Mic Go 2 shotgun mic mounted on top of it with a furry dead cat to jam the wind. Although the microphone I think is inadequate for the purposes that I'm using it for. It's more a vlogging style camera for different use. So I'm looking to upgrade that eventually. The tripod I'm using is a Sachtler Ace M. Which is working a treat. Now the voiceover I do with a Rode lavalier mic, and I have it connected to a DJI mic wireless transmitter and receiver to wirelessly transmit the signal to the switcher that I use. I use an ATEM Mini, and I have that connected to my MacBook Air, an M1 with Thunderbolt or Firewire or whatever those USB-C newest ports are called. And I also use Ecamm Live as software, as streaming software, because it allows you so much possibilities. And even though it is a paid subscription, I felt it was definitely worth investing into it. I've looked into OBS, but I didn't really figure out how it worked quickly, i.e. the learning curve for me was too steep, and I didn't feel I wanted to take the time for it to learn it. Because by then I also downloaded a demo version of Ecamm Live, and I also had a look at some instructional videos that also demonstrated a lot of stuff, and I thought, oh wow, this is really easy to use, very intuitive. Even though it's like, I think 16 USD per month for the basic subscription, I felt it was worth the money. To get the data to YouTube, I use a dedicated wireless router. I have, for my day job, which I'm doing being self-employed, I also have a phone subscription that is with unlimited data and unlimited minutes. days that I don't have to work with my day job, I take out the SIM card from my phone, my business phone, put it in the wireless router and use it for the data, the unlimited data bundle that I have. Of course, there are accessories that I also use. I use my phone to look at flight radar and the chat of the stream. So I have recently bought a phone mount that I have attached to my tripod. I use tent wires, and I have a camping table and a power supply and a laptop tent to keep my laptop protected against sunlight and the rain. So all in all, it was quite a substantial investment at first. Bit of a gamble, but if you do something, better make it right, better do it right. And Hammy asks why I'm filming the motor instead of the entire airplane, which is a waste, he says. Well, I have done a lot of close-ups lately. I tried to exchange it a little bit. One time filmed the whole aircraft, the other time just the close-up of the engine and the flaps. But I have been doing close-ups a lot lately, so let me switch it up again. Some people like the close-ups better, some people like the total view of the airplane better. I try to do both. But I guess I got distracted a little and didn't figure that I was doing a lot of close-up shots. So thanks for telling me. I'll make sure to switch it up a little more than I did. Jack Connors asks, what's your favorite plane? Well, at the moment, looking at civilian airplanes, I think aesthetically, obviously the 747, the classic 747-400 is in a class of its own. But other than the Queen, I think the A350 and the A220 are the two planes that I aesthetically like the most at the moment. However, if you look at other aspects than just the appearance, I do like the engine noise of A330-300s taking off. Obviously also the engine noise of old school planes like the 767, the A300s. And of course, the GE90s of the 777s are in a class of its own, particularly the bigger ones on the 777-300s. I think that's the GE90 115. When they spool up, the sound is second to none. So really, there are a lot of planes that I like, and I like different planes for different reasons. Looking at the total package, I think A350s are currently one of my favorites, possibly together with the A220s. They have that sleek, curved, business-like appearance, which I find very appealing. So Jack, what is your favorite plane? I've said my favorite. I told you my favorites, but what are your favorites then? Very curious. And also other folks, what are your favorite airplanes? Just curious to see if we have similar tastes or a very different palette in taste. Now, talking about A350s, I spy with my little eye something to look forward to after the departure of this Airbus from EasyJet. In terms of engines and sounds when they spool up, these are also very nice. For some reason, I find that the A320s, when spooling up the engines, they make a more bassy growl. If I'm not mistaken, they are the same engines that are also mounted on the 737, the next generation, the classics, so to speak. But I don't hear that as much on 737s, that growl. Or maybe I'm just not listening properly. Yeah, the wind is definitely picking up a little. Still nothing to write home about. How's the crackling, folks? Is it still absent, or do you start hearing it as the wind is also picking up a little bit? Because I think it is very much wind related. No wind, no crackling, but curious to see what is the tipping point when you start hearing it. Like the responses, guys. So I see we have a lot of different opinions about which is the favorite aircraft of people. you guys probably don't hear it when you're watching this on the computer, but standing here you get a visceral feeling in your belly as it rumbles and passes by you. That is something that those newer generation, more quiet engines certainly cannot evoke. Also something that is appealing, of course, the sensation you get when it takes off, when you're physically standing next to it. So another A330 is taxiing towards the threshold. First will be an A320 or 21 from SAS. Let's see, still over there. Now let's have a look. So it's being followed by another A330, and there's also what seems to be an A320 family airplane coming this way. Let's see if it's going to skip the line or if the SAS that is now almost turning onto the runway to the right will go first. I think this one might go first. No, I'm wrong. Now, although A320s aesthetically are not that appealing, to me at least, I do like the sound that those Neos make when they take off. I think I've mentioned it before, it sounds to me like mini GE90s. If you close your eyes, it's almost like a 777. Now to the right, the Delta A330 is already lined up, but obviously this EasyJet will take off before it. In the meantime, Swimmer Matt and Infinity, good to see you guys, welcome. I think the windmills might also be turning a little faster than they did before. Hey Kathleen, good morning. You're up early. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. So for those of you tuning in later, welcome to AMS Live. Where we are watching departures from the Polderbaan on this sunny Monday morning. My name is Boy and this is AMS Live. Delta A330, we saw takeoff just now. Taking off in northerly direction. And the previous plane in the background, moving to the right. Beautifully visible in one shot. Visibility excellent, as you guys can see. The area of high pressure clearly doing its thing. I haven't seen a single cloud yet, other than a few remnants from contrails. Wind is blowing from the northeast, not very hard, although I think it is picking up just a little bit compared to around the time I began streaming. Temperature is still a bit behind. Relatively cold still in most of Europe, although now sunny. Temperature is approximately 4 or 5 degrees centigrade, so that is approximately 38 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Earlier we also saw runway 09 open for departures. Let me have a look at the app that displays the current runway usage. And I can say that 09 is now closed for business again. 36 left. At the moment the only runway in use for departures. 2 runways still open for arrivals. One is 06, the Polderbaan. The other is 36 right at the other side of the airport. It's 11:35 or so. So we are still in the middle of the rush hour for at least heavies that take off to North America. They typically take off back to back, or at least closely behind each other, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. local time. Coming this way is an A319 from EasyJet outbound to London Stansted, and behind it is going to be the Air Europa flight to Madrid, and today a 7879 instead of a 7878. First taxiing to the threshold, so we can go to that airplane after the EasyJet A319 has taken off. Meanwhile, the Air Europa Dreamliner about to enter the runway. As Rick was mentioning earlier, normally it is a 7878 that flies this route, but today it is the bigger brother, the 7879. Now KLM has the even bigger brother in its fleet. This airplane is also no small one by any means. Does sound like a derated takeoff. Not the highest of RPMs that we've ever heard from a Dreamliner. Still airborne relatively quickly. Gear up and off to Madrid it is for this Dreamliner. Meanwhile, looking back towards the main platform area, we can already see the next airplane. Slowly but surely taxiing this way. And it is Singapore Airlines flight 323, an A350-900 outbound to Singapore. I think that must be one of the furthest, longest flights that you can take from Amsterdam. The airplane taxiing over here, 5 years old. First flight was in June 2017, and following it is an A319 from Croatia Airlines, flight 451, outbound to Zagreb. That is a 22-year-old plane. First flight was in June 2000 and almost at the south threshold of 18 center, 36 center. Also taxiing this way is United Airlines flight 21, outbound to Houston, 772-200ER. You can also see Delta Airlines flight 259, outbound to Boston, taxiing this way, A330-300. More is underway, so don't go anywhere, folks. And if you like what you're seeing so far and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It greatly helps me to reach more people like you and me, also into content like this. Plus it allows you the opportunity to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, you get notified. And if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, can join us once again for more action over here at the ever-bustling Schiphol Airport. Kathleen says, don't think I ever have spotted Croatia Airlines. That or the medications are working. Well, I'm curious as to what medication that might be then, because I think Croatia Airlines we've seen before quite regularly in the stream. They are frequenting Amsterdam on a very regular basis, but from a distance, I sometimes confuse Croatia Airlines with Vueling, looking at the tail. It is, as is the case with a lot of airplanes and liveries, some do look similar to others, so you might have seen it but never realized it was Croatia Airlines already. Yeah, wind is definitely picking up. So hopefully the crackling will still be gone. But this way, facing the wind more, I do feel it's picking up somewhat. Still nothing to write home about, but not as calm anymore as it was around 9 o'clock or 9:15. So there she is, Croatia Airlines. It's not the most exciting of liveries, so might be that you guys already saw it before and never realized it was Croatia Airlines. The little plane with blocks. That's a very apt description of the livery. The wind's picking up, the image is starting to shake a little in this direction because the camera is also affected by it. Too bad, it used to be such a nice calm morning. Although, weather-wise, with the sun and the blue sky, absolutely nothing to complain about. So much better than the grey dreariness that we have so often. Hey, and I see that Goosey also is back. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yesterday evening I was looking in my cabinets and also in my shed. I was convinced that I was still having some latex gloves lying around, but I was wrong. I guess I did have a pack at some point, mainly when I was going to do some repairs on my bike, or back when a few years ago I still had a Vespa scooter to work on that, to get my hands from getting dirty, but apparently I didn't have them anymore, so still having to make do with regular gloves at the moment, and my hand warmer fully recharged again. But at the moment it is very doable, much better than yesterday. But I will pick up a pack of disposable latex gloves because I think it might be a very effective way to keep the hands from getting too cold. That was a very good suggestion, one that I wish I thought of myself. Very logical. Kathleen asks if they still make latex in the Netherlands. As far as I know, we don't. I only know that back when we also had colonies several centuries ago in what is now Indonesia, I think we did produce latex or at least the local people produced latex that we shipped over the world back then, but of course real latex, I think, is grown on, or at least it's coming from trees that need a tropical environment, don't they? I'm now way out of my comfort zone in terms of things that I know stuff about. The Netherlands has a very rich history in terms of accomplishments that we achieved in the past. Of course, the first company that issued stock, VOC. We also at some point had a national cocaine factory. So back before it was a prohibited substance, the Netherlands had an official factory also producing it. A lot of things to be proud of, so to speak. So back on topic, there is a 777 from United at the threshold. Well, in terms of latex being for sale, Kathleen, in terms of the, not so much the production, but it being on sale, I do believe that at I do believe that there are still shops here in the Netherlands where you can buy latex gloves, although I'm not sure if it's pure nature latex, because a lot of people are also sensitive for latex. In medicine, of course, nitrile is being used more often, or other materials, so we might, maybe the latex gloves that are for sale over here are synthetic latex or something. That I don't know for sure, but I think it's still possible to go to stores here and buy them. Disposable ones, of course. Now, there's an A330 taxiing towards the threshold, and I can see another 777 also coming this way. Also likely to go to the threshold first. Not sure if it was yesterday or if it was last Friday, but we did see an A330 take off from the entrance over here in front of us. Normally it would only be the narrow bodies that you see, but we did see one A330 take off in front of us, but the heavies currently over here are all taxiing to the threshold to take off from the beginning of the runway. So that's planned further ahead because the A330 is about to turn onto the runway, or it is turning onto the runway at the moment. Okay, the gear is retracting. These days it's something to pay extra attention to. And meanwhile the 777 from KLM is already lined up, ready to go at a moment's notice. As I was saying earlier, those GE90s in my book are second to none in terms of engine noise. Beautiful sound. Hey! Are we now seeing a 777 with heated brakes? Seems like it. Interesting. So it's not just the A330s that sometimes are experiencing this. As a lot of you already remarked in the chat yesterday, it's also seen on other airplanes. The airplane seems to be following the regular departure route, as far as I can tell over here on my little screen, on which the sun is also shining. Gear is still down. Is it up already? Hard for me to see. Yeah, it's up. Okay. Had to do a quick peek on my laptop screen, which shows me more detail than the 3-inch screen on my camera, but yeah, it went up eventually. So, waiting for the next plane to come this way. Begum Sen says, thanks for broadcasting, bedankt voor de uitzending, graag gedaan, you're welcome my friend. Love starting the week with some sunshine and some airplanes. Kathleen even has an EpiPen because of latex. I didn't even know that you could have such a strong reaction to latex that you even need an EpiPen. I know of not allergies, that they can be so severe that you can get an anaphylactic shock and need an EpiPen to counter the reaction, but good to know that latex can also trigger such strong reactions. Well, in that case, definitely stay away from latex. Not worth risking your life over. So K4 in a hurry, also moving to that area. The BA flight, the BA airplane is very much waiting well before the runway, so I'm guessing they have spotted a flock of birds or something, and K4 is now coming to the rescue to chase them away. K4 in the middle of the screen in the background, in the vicinity of the runway threshold, I guess. The windsock, by the way, over to the right, more erect than the one at the fire station earlier. Another indication that wind is picking up. Meanwhile, you guys might hear the alarms going off, which means that it is 12 o'clock. First Monday of the month, 12 p.m. It's always the moment that all the air sirens are tested out loud. So the Netherlands is not under attack at the moment. This is just a test. Hey Daniel, goedemiddag, good afternoon. So the BA flight still waiting for something. I think that the bird controller vehicle has gone more towards the main platform area, so I don't know why exactly the Airbus is still standing there. Meanwhile, I can see that there is an A321 from Finnair coming this way, outbound to Helsinki, and also a BA City Flyer to London City. 747 to Seoul, also on the move, although it is very likely that it's going to take off from 09. Which has in the meantime also reopened, and 36 right is now the only runway used for arrivals. On the other hand, there's movement. On the other hand, Seoul is, well, no, normally speaking they would fly towards Groningen, to the northeast of the country. But that was before everything with Russia and Ukraine began. Because I think European flights now have to take a more southerly route to Seoul and Tokyo than they otherwise would. So I think it will take off from 09, but you never know for sure until you know for sure. Gear up. Meanwhile, the Finnair Airbus also getting closer to the runway threshold. outbound to Helsinki. And yeah, the 747 is already taking off from 09. Let me have a closer look. So it is getting more quiet. Alright. So for now, the only airplane coming this way is the Embraer 190 we see in front of us, BA City Flyer, off to London City, first flight, March 2014. That makes this airplane 9 years old. There is an E2 Embraer 195 coming this way, outbound to Bergen, currently around the threshold, the southern threshold of 18 Center, still having to make its way up the runway and then over to the platform, from the platform area over here. So it's still a few minutes out. By the looks of it, the Embraer is going to take off right in front of us. I do see more planes underway. Dreamliner outbound to Houston, also taxiing this way along the runway 0624. For a moment it seems that the wind has subsided again. Pointing the camera this way, you are facing the wind more. It seems quieter than it was before. The Finnair's jet in the background moving to the right. both visible in one shot. Upside of the weather being so clear. Here once again a view of the chimneys of the electricity plant in the port area west of the city of Amsterdam. Wind is blowing from the east, northeast. Camera is now pointing to the northeast. And 90 degrees versus the runway. This is the east. Parallel to the runway to the south. It is still lovely in terms of the weather. Contrails even visible. Let's test the camera, see how far I can zoom in. Never tried that before actually, now that I think of it. Seems like a quad engine. So a queen or a king. Hopefully you guys can see some details, because I unfortunately do not. Looking on my little 3-inch camera screen, also seeing my own reflection because the sun is out and is illuminating my face. So this is zoomed in maximally, at least with optical zoom. Could dive into the camera menu and also enable digital zoom, but I don't think that the image quality is going to get better by it. Do start to see a little bit more detail now on my screen as well. Still not able to make out the airplane type. You guys hopefully see more than I can at the moment. And I'm curious, I will look back and see what it is that you guys are seeing right now. Doing some very long distance airplane spotting right here. The plane is definitely more nearby now, more in the zenith as well. And having the panhandle now on the front side of the camera, pulling the rubber band that is in front of the camera, it's easy for me to pan or to tilt the camera up fully. If I rotate the screen a little, it's easier for me to follow it. But let me go back to the action on the ground, because there is an E2 Embraer 195 meanwhile that is ready to take off. You can see crosswind from the right. The airplane, after leaving the ground, immediately moving to the left, and they immediately have to compensate. So If I recall correctly, there is a 777 also coming this way. That is outbound to Houston. Let me have a look on the flight radar, see if that's still the case. Seems to be so. It is expected to turn around the corner from the right in a few moments. United Flight 947 outbound to Washington. Sorry, not Houston, Washington. Oh, and it's not a 777, it's a Dreamliner. The caffeine in my blood levels in my blood are too low. Only had 2 cups of espresso before going out. I think I need a refill. So the Dreamliner to Washington is being followed by an Embraer 175, and at a bit of a distance is an A330neo from Delta outbound to New York JFK. Also seems to be a Dreamliner from TUI outbound to Curaçao. That is now on the move, taxiing. So we will start to see more action in a few moments. I will, given it's 12:15, I will wrap it up, I think, after most of the heavies have been airborne. Still have to do a few phone calls later today. Is actually much more involved, the live streaming, than you would think beforehand. Also have to do some stuff at home afterwards, update the thumbnail, other related stuff. So at least I have rehydrated a little bit. I also place a phone call to the company the store that I bought my camera and most of my equipment from. See if they can maybe troubleshoot with the crackling when it's windy. Given that I have a YouTube page and a lot of live streams that they can view, maybe they can have a listen and maybe tell me what causes the crackling when it's windy. And maybe also already give me some advice as to what microphone would be more resistant to crackling when it's windy. I think the Embraer is going to go ahead before the Dreamliner. Keep saying triple, but the only thing they have in common is that they are Boeings. So let's turn around quickly. Yeah, you can see it's obviously a 777-300ER from KLM. Now taking off. Though I have to say that the GE90s on this airplane sound a little different than I'm used to. They sound more like GE NXs, but maybe that's because they are. So in the meantime, one of Delta's many A330s taxiing to the threshold. No upcoming traffic just yet, but soon there will be. Hey Evan! Tuning in only for a brief moment. Gotta go again. You really shouldn't have dropped by just to give me a little gift, but thank you so much for doing so. Very much appreciated, my friend. Hope you have a good day. And undoubtedly I will see you again soon at one of the other upcoming streams. If you disregard the temperature, it does look like we are in California somewhat, weather-wise at least. Southern California, that is. Although it's not yet beach weather per se. No gear issues or heating issues with this Neo. Tried to zoom out just now. Also panning back to the A330, I noticed that because I'm wearing gloves and I'm using the zoom rocker on my handle that I mounted onto the camera, that I can set a higher speed, zoom speed for, to zoom in and out. I noticed that because I'm wearing gloves, I thought I was zooming out, but I actually didn't. Daniel says that there's a TUI 787 underway. Thanks for the information. Let's see. Seems that that is going to be the last airplane on short notice coming to this runway. So folks, I am thinking about wrapping up today's stream after the TUI Dreamliner that is now approaching has taken off. That allows me some time to do the other things that I still need to do. As I was saying before, tomorrow and Wednesday I will not be able to go live again. Thursday, probably not, but it depends. I always have training on Thursdays, and I believe that this one is going to be a Zoom meeting from home. Last time I had that 2 weeks ago, we were done early. The person presenting the training also didn't feel like sitting behind a computer the entire day as was necessary during the pandemic. But I'm assuming that I will be obligated to be in a Zoom call the entire day on Thursday. If we are finished early, if it's still around noon or something, I might sneak out to do another live stream on Thursday, but don't count on it. Friday I will definitely be able to go out again. Now the weather for the upcoming week, if not the upcoming next 2 weeks, is going to be very favorable. So I'm looking to go out on Friday again. Maybe on Thursday if we're done early, but don't count on it. Obviously, the weekend I will be off and I'm looking to go out again. So this is going to be the last plane of the day. A TUI Dreamliner outbound to Curaçao. Boeing 7878, 8 years old, first flight March 2015. Off to a rolling start. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in again today, each and every one of you for tuning in. I've had a blast yet again. If you guys liked what you were seeing and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure that when you do, to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you receive a heads up. And if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again for another action-packed live stream from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Evan, thank you once again for your donation. You really shouldn't have, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All the people who have in the meantime joined AMS Live as a member, thank you guys as well. I keep forgetting to thank you guys for that. Really appreciate your support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. I really appreciate the support, and I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me in whatever way possible. And I think that's it for now. Again, thank you all for tuning in. I hope to see you all again soon. Hopefully later this week, and if not, then maybe at another stream later. Enjoy your week, be safe, take care, and I will see you guys again soon. And bye for now.